I'm Jerrell with the Jerrell Show. Coming up, I have none other than Tommy Luckett here with me today, talking about transgender women paving the way here in the South. Be sure to catch me on my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and or YouTube to see all the clips and latest updates. I can't wait to see you soon. Hi, I'm Jerrell with the Jerrell Show, and today we're talking about women, but just not any type of women. We're talking about transgender women, women who are paving the way, such as Janet Mock, Laverne Cox, and Caitlyn Jenner. But today I have my dearest friend here with me, Tommy Luckett. Hey, Tommy!
Hey, Jerrell!
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Other than trying to fight off the bugs right now, I think I'm doing very well.
I'm just glad it's not me. I can't be pretty and fight bugs.
Well, I'm so grateful for you to actually join me today and actually have this open discussion, because so many people are not familiar with what transgender women are. Even here in the South, they're so confused.
That's correct.
And I know even for myself, it hasn't even been a full year yet that both you and I actually met.
Right.
And you have taught me a huge amount of what transgender women are and some of the process. So we're going to kind of talk about that today.
Not a problem.
So the first thing I want to go ahead and go into is, I was reading on the Human Rights blog. I was reading so much about you. I was just trying to binge read everything about you so I can know everything. And starting off at an early age in life, you were ridiculed by your own family. Your father actually called you
a fag.
A fag.
Yes.
Tell me, how did that feel at such an adolescent age to be called
a fag? Okay, well, I didn't know what it was at all. Like, I had to go to an outside source. All I knew in my heart to be true was that this is some type of derogatory term, but I have no clue what it meant.
Right.
And so it wasn't something that I could just go to Webster's dictionary and look up. And I'm glad that I didn't, because I really would have been like even more of a depressed child than what I already was.
And that can be belittling of a child and deprive a child of all this greatness growing up.
Especially from someone you look up to, someone I'm named after, and this is my father who's saying these things. It's not a stranger in the street.
Not a stranger in the street. So even growing up, you were growing up with 7 other siblings within your own home.
Correct.
7 other siblings. Now,
I come from a big family, just the 10 of us.
I look forward to coming to your family reunions.
Okay.
But dealing with 7 other siblings, that had to be slightly difficult dealing with that, especially with you knowing that you're different than everyone else within the household.
Correct.
Kind of explain that, because I know for myself, it was just me and my sister, and just really me, because we have such an age gap. So how was that for you?
Well, I always felt that I was different than everyone in my household. So I always tried to be low-key and under the radar. But it was like I was in a tug of war between my brothers and my sisters. My sisters who educated me, and my brothers who wanted me to be that man, that play that manly role and be all masculine, hyper-masculine, in fact, alpha male.
Alpha male.
The alpha male. And that just wasn't me at all. And so I took to academics.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, are you the oldest or the youngest?
I am the 6th child.
The 6th child?
Believe it or not. I'm
next to the baby.
Child. The babies are the twins.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That is, wow, that's beautiful.
And then there's an age difference between myself and my next oldest sister of 5 years.
Wow.
Correct.
That is beautiful. Now, you even stated that your father's name was Tommy.
Correct.
And from my understanding, and I hope I'm correct, most transgender women, they start to change their names.
Yes.
However, you still kept the name of Tommy.
Correct.
Why would you keep your father's name?
Well, I mean, in all honesty and the spirit of truth, I left my home at 15 years old.
Correct.
And I started seeing my dad's philandering ways. He and my mom have been married, and they're still married. And in an effort to protect my mom, I told her what I saw. And that caused my relationship with my dad to become estranged. And when I felt like I didn't have his love, I would keep his namesake as a way of being close to him.
Wow.
Because that's all I wanted for more than 16 years, was to be close to him.
Wow. I can understand that because even for myself, my father, his name's Lloyd. However, he can actually have my first name as Lloyd, nor my middle name. And however, the doctor told him that the child can have up to 3 middle names. So he decided to name me Jerrell Kadeen Lloyd Hartnett.
Oh, wow.
He said somehow I want my future to go forth because even at a younger age, there's quite a few of us on my father's side, roughly 11 of us.
Right.
And I was the baby on that side. And he said, I think this child right here is going to go far.
Right.
So we had to keep it somewhere in there.
I understand.
So the school setting, how was school setting growing up for you?
Well, in the 4th grade is the first time that I was called a homo.
Okay.
And again, I just sheltered myself basically, and I had no clue what it meant. So I
sheltering yourself. What do you mean when you say shelter yourself?
In academics, I kept my face in a book because by this time I realized that I had a real knack for academics.
Right.
People said that I was smart, but I have always felt like I've done just enough.
Right.
But I didn't have to study at all. It was just there. And so when I was called a homo for the first time, I went to my mom because she's always been my biggest supporter. She gives me that unconditional love. Before I was ready to admit that I was a gay man, she knew it and told me that she would love me even if I was gay.
Wow, as long as we have those mother's love, we're always good.
Correct.
But we'll be right back with a short break. We'll be right back. Hey, I'm Jerrell of the Jerrell Hartnett Show, and usually I'm not sitting here by myself. But we're getting ready for season 2, where we'll have more hard-hitting interviews. And we'll have even more social interaction right here on the Jerrell Hartnett Show. Hey, I'm Jerrell. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at TheJ8Show for all the latest updates. I can't wait to see you. Hey, and welcome back to the Jerrell Hartnett Show. I'm sitting with an extraordinary woman today, but not just any woman, a transgender woman who's telling me her whole life story. I have my dear friend Tommy with me today. So Tommy, as I just said, a transgender woman.
Correct.
For many of us, which I've just now been acquainted with it, but for many of us, we don't know what transgender women are. Mm-hmm. Explain to our viewers what transgender woman is and what's in compared to a drag queen. Because for myself, for many years, I thought they were almost the same thing hand in hand, but of course, as I've grown, I've learned differently. Right. So explain it to me.
Well, the term transgender means to identify differently than the way that I did when I was born, as far as gender. My birth certificate says male. I present as a woman because in my heart of hearts, that's what I know to be true about myself.
Right.
And it's different for each transgender person, whether it's a trans man or a trans woman.
Right.
But the premise is still the same. I was born one way, and today I present a different way.
Wow.
Yes.
That is so amazing.
And as far as your question, I forgot the question.
Oh, no problem. The question is, how does it compare to a drag queen?
Right.
Because that was just, when I see drag queens, they're pushed out more as just flashy, show. So,
right.
Explain.
And I mean, that's their job. That is a job.
Wow.
To be a drag queen. It's a female impersonator, and very over exaggerated. I mean, it's for show.
Okay.
It's for entertainment. But a transgender person, this is how I identify. This is how I go to work. This is how I was going to class. This is how I step outside of my door every day. I present to the world as a woman, the woman that I know that I am, deep inside. And so there is a difference because I don't get paid for this. I would get ridiculed before anyone offered to pay me. But that's the difference between being a drag queen and being transgender. A drag queen, after the show is over, will go back to looking like a man.
Okay.
Yes.
And today you live that day to day.
Day to day.
Now the other day you and I were in a summit the other day, and you were explaining as you were on the panel, LGBTQ, all these I,
yes,
the new terms.
Yes.
And you don't agree with LGBT.
I do not.
Why do you not agree with LGBT?
I mean,
And emphasis on the T, correct.
Correct. Okay, the reason why I don't agree with that is because the L, G, and the B, lesbian, gay, and bisexual, it describes sexual identity.
Correct.
Sexual orientation.
Yes.
What I'm attracted to. Same as straight. But when you deal with transgender, it is more about gender identity. How I express myself. I express myself as a woman. That's my gender expression. My gender identity is I'm a trans woman. I'm not a man who has sex with men, and I'm not a cisgender woman.
Right. Wow. Well, that puts a spin on a lot of things that many people do not look at from that perspective.
Correct.
Now, in 2012, something happened to you.
Yes.
That
forever changed my life.
Forever changed your life.
Correct.
In 2012, you were diagnosed with HIV.
Correct.
Explain that to us.
Well, I got a phone call. There was so much going on with me that I did not even think that HIV would be the issue.
Right.
But what happened was I was starting to lose my hearing. And so I'm like, at 30-something years old, I'm going to need hearing aids. I feel like half a person. I needed glasses. One eye was better than the other. One ear was better than the other. And when I went through that whole procedure, what it boiled down to was my lymph node was swollen. My adenoids were infected, and I was told that I needed to take an HIV test after I took a test to see if I had lymphoma, which was very scary because I had just buried my niece the month before my diagnosis. And so when I did get my initial diagnosis, I admit I was scared. Scared doesn't even begin to explain how I felt. I was very scared. I was very alone. I had no one to turn to, and this was something that I knew I was going to have to deal with by myself. How would I tell my family?
Right.
What would I say to them? In all of my efforts to protect my mom, I didn't think about myself.
Right.
And so I made a promise to the powers that be.
The universe.
God, whatever it may be. You know, I know that we all are free to believe as we believe, but I made a promise for myself, laying in bed one night as the tears were streaming down my eyes, thinking I was going to die. God, if I'm able to get the help that I need, I promise to educate about HIV.
And that's the important thing, is always educating others so they can be more aware.
And be able to protect themselves.
Correct.
And make rational decisions when it comes to the person that you're laying next to.
Right.
You know, so it's just that you have to get the information out there as to how HIV is transmitted.
And do you feel, next thing I would like to know is, do you feel that as we are here in the South, the natural state, might I add,
hometown,
do you feel that there will be more progression for women of color, not even women of color, but women of color who are transgender?
I do. I see that Arkansas is a little slow, but it is moving progressively forward. And with the trans community that we have here, we will fight until the very end.
Wow.
I mean, I have trans sisters and trans brothers who are actually taking it to the Capitol, and just staying there. You will talk to me, and we will let you know that we're here. We're your constituency. We help to get you into office.
Right.
And so we need to be respected as someone who was there for you, and we need you to be there for us. Because we're not going anywhere.
You're going to stay right here.
I'm going to stay right here. Charity starts at home.
Charity starts right home, and that's what we want you to do. Stay right here, and we'll be right back. Hey, I'm Jerrell. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at TheJ8Show for all the latest updates. I can't wait to see you. Hey, and thank you and welcome back to the Jerrell Hartness Show. I'm so excited that you're here with me today. We're learning so much today from Tommy Luckett about the life of transgender women. And not only the life of transgender women, but an advocate who's HIV positive, who's fighting for the rights for transgender women here in the South. Hey Tommy, welcome back.
Thank you for having me here.
I just wanted to say over camera that I'm so grateful to have you here with me today.
I'm
because
so thankful for the opportunity, Jerrell. I really am. You just don't know. And a year ago, I never would have thought that this would be me.
For you to tell me that I'm right here, right now, interviewing people, look here, Be the next Oprah soon.
Right. And I can say I remember when.
You remember when? So let's go ahead. Let's go into our next question.
Okay.
What sets you aside from transgender women such as Laverne Cox, compare Laverne Cox to you today? Because they're big in the media, they're doing this, that, and the other, and they are paving the way.
Right.
But what sets you two apart?
What sets us apart is the fact that she's in Hollywood. I'm in Arkansas. She is doing great things. I think that this season of Orange is the New Black is absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
I have to say that trans women such as Janet Mock and Laverne Cox are really putting the issues in the headlines, what it is that transgender women face. And on a daily basis, we can either be persecuted. They are highlighting the transgender murders, the murders of transgender women of color.
Right.
They are really bringing attention to what it means to be transgender.
Correct.
And so I just want to follow in their footsteps. I don't have to be on the big screen. I don't have to be have my own show. But I do need for that information to get out there and to see them as possibility models.
Right.
They are helping me to get more comfortable with myself and being more visible, because all I wanted to do was just live my life.
Right.
So if you had told me that HRC would be writing about me, or that I would be in several magazine articles, or I would even be here with you today, Jerrell, with you and all of your viewers, I would not have believed it, because I simply wanted to live my life.
Well, I have to say this also, it's because of women such as yourself, and I always try to put this out there, ordinary people who are doing extraordinary things. And you are doing some extraordinary things right here in our own, I won't say my hometown, but our own little residency right now.
I understand.
So we got bigger and better things to move forward to.
You know what? But I truly feel that it's not my time to leave Arkansas until more work has been done here.
Correct.
And so I have used my visibility as a platform to actually promote awareness, not only about trans issues, but about what it means to actually be a person living with HIV.
Yes.
HIV is not the death sentence that it used to be.
Correct.
There are great medicines out here, and so I try to promote awareness, education, and all of these things.
Okay, and my last thing I would like to know from you is, what is your philosophy in life? I always want to ask that question because I always want to pick around people's head and just understand.
And that's exactly what you're doing. You know, my philosophy in life, I would have to say, I would say dream big.
Dream big.
Dream big. Dream big and work. You know, you have to put in the work because nothing is handed to you anymore.
Right.
So I have put in a lot of work, and it can be very frustrating at times, but at the same time, it has been the most rewarding experience of my life to actually step outside of myself and think more about others. And so that's actually how I was raised. Like, my mom would come in and feed the whole neighborhood.
Wow.
Everyone knows my mom, you know, and so that's one of the things that I picked up from her, and how strong she is.
Right.
And so it's not going to be easy. I won't say that for a minute, because it has been hard. You know, my life has been difficult, but what hasn't killed me has made me stronger.
Right. Anything you want to leave with our viewers right before we leave?
I would say, if you meet a trans person, be accepting, be loving. We're not asking for any special privileges. We're only asking for the right to occupy the same space. Right. I'm not special. I'm not privileged. And I really hate that word, but it's true. There are different elements of privilege, and I think that everyone has privilege, based on whatever the situation is called for. So I would say, be fair to people, be happy, live, laugh, love, because that's all that any of us want, really, when you think about it.
Well, like my dear friend Marvell Terry always say, let's help celebrate the life of Tommy Luckett. Thank you so very much for tuning in today to the Jerrell Hartnett Show. I'm so delighted that you tuned in. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube so you can see all the behind the scenes work, all our bloopers, and so much more from me and Tommy. I look forward to seeing you next time right here on the Jerrell Hartnett Show.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.